In celebration of the Ardan Podcast's second birthday, here are some moments from the past year.
Welcome to the Ardan Labs Podcast. So this is a podcast about you. And where are you talking to us from?
I'm in Livermore, California.
I am right now in Santa Cruz, California.
I am based out of London, England.
And so I'm from France and I live a bit outside Paris.
I am from Seattle, Washington.
I'm west outside of the Philadelphia area, so around Westchester if you're familiar, but usually I try to go pretty broad and then narrow in if people know the area.
This podcast is about you and your journey in tech. But before we can kind of talk about that, give everybody the 2-minute elevator pitch on kind of what you're doing today.
I'm actually a senior developer advocate on the AWS Cloud Formation team. As a developer advocate, I get to talk on stage, I get to write Go, I get to, build the next greatest thing in infrastructure as code. I'm just truly just blessed to have the career that I have right now.
My name's Steve Wade. Currently, I am one of the founding engineers at a company called Ardan Labs. So what we are doing is building a Kubernetes security operations center.
I just finished writing a book called Go for DevOps, me and a guy named David Justice. I'm a principal engineer over at Microsoft, so I manage a group that helps run data center management software.
I am a technical community advocate at a company called Isovalent, and I'm on the open source side, so I get to deal with eBPF and Cilium all day long.
Today I do career and leadership coaching, primarily for mid to senior level professionals. And I help people transform and upgrade their career.
I'm a data scientist. I work for a faith-based nonprofit actually called SIL International. SIL works all around the world, over like 100 countries doing all sorts of things related to language. So our vision is to see people flourishing in community with the languages that they value most.
So I work at Neo4j. So Neo4j is a graph database company. So the main product is Neo4j, and I maintain the official code driver for it.
That's cool. Okay, now that I have that, I'm going to ask you my favorite first question. I'm going to jump into what I call the time machine. I want you to just not think too hard about this question. Just the first memory you have of getting your hands on a computer, where you're hitting that keyboard, you're doing something.
So I had always been into computers because my dad was into computers. I mean, literally, he bought his first computer from Radio Shack, brought it home, and then all of a sudden, we were like off and learning the computer.
And you know what it was? It wasn't even the computer itself at first. It was the clickies. It's the reason why I like mechanical keyboards now. That Commodore had the best thunk that you could ever want.
Jumping on a computer that my dad, it was actually a laptop of my father's. And I was just intrigued what he was doing because I just saw loads of what now I know is code, but at the time just looked like, a load of random letters on a screen with a couple of characters. And I was like, what on earth is this stuff?
My father was allergic to computers until maybe
allergic
2 years ago. Yes, I would describe it like that. He didn't want to know about it. Didn't want to hear about it. He was really reluctant to use any of these things. So my mother was doing, accountancy, etc. And the first computer she brought home, I believe, was a Tandy computer around 94, 95. She bought it from the union she was involved with.
And my uncle always told that to me. Bill, I don't care what you do, whatever decisions you make, just always go forward, don't go backwards. And I feel like hearing your story, that's exactly what you did.
Yeah, there's some going backwards in there a little bit. I just didn't talk about that as much.
Let's not call it backwards, let's call it sideways, because you're allowed to go sideways.
Okay,
you're allowed to go sideways. Look, things happen for a reason. If all those things didn't happen the way they did, who's to say your life would be better than it is right now? You can't say that, right? When I'm watching a game and we're like, we lost by 3 points, and if we had made that kick in the first quarter, we would have. I'm like, no, if you made that kick in the first quarter, everything changes. You're doing consulting, which is, I think, a great skill for everybody to have, because you walk in, I call it chaos engineering, to be honest with you. You don't know what you're walking into half the time. And your job is to try to stabilize while continue to move things forward. You know, I tell engineers all the time, you're either a revenue center or you're a cost center. You're one or the other. And if you're a cost center, like you cost because you're not directly helping and generating revenue, then your job is to save money, right? To help support your salary. And that's exactly what you did. You're like, I'm not directly helping with revenue. I'm more on the cost side of things. And you found a way to reduce wow, that's wild, dude. What a brilliant idea. This is going into the history books right here. Oh my God. I can't get the technical information I need. It's just not available and nobody at Amazon will talk to me. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna interview at Amazon and get in front of these engineers and I'm gonna interview them. Oh my God. This is one of my most prolific podcast moments of all time. Thank you for joining us and hope to see everybody again real soon.
A big thank you to all of our listeners. Tune in every other Wednesday for more episodes.